Manhattanhenge, one of New York City's biggest photography events. Twice a year, the sun aligns perfectly with the city's grid, creating a breathtaking glow that stretches across the streets. But behind this beauty lies a chaotic frenzy. Thousands of people flock to the streets, searching for the perfect shot with a degree of uncertainty. Will the weather cooperate? Will the clouds part in time? Or will it all fade away, leaving nothing but a missed opportunity? Today, we'll be showing you my personal experiences trying to capture Manhattanhenge during both of the expected dates, with one in late May and one in early July. We'll be diving into the chaotic, unpredictable world of Manhattanhenge, where nature and the city collide. So here we go, starting the journey on the NYC ferry from Long Island City during the first expected date in late May. It's a beautiful ride, sure, but let's be honest, it's mostly a chance to avoid the subway with thousands of dollars worth of camera equipment. Once we dock at 34th Street, the journey begins. We step off the ferry and join the crowd, a mix of tourists, locals, and way too many people with tripods, and we begin making our way to 42nd Street, where we'll hopefully find a spot to set up. Finally, we make it to Tudor City Bridge on 42nd Street, and as expected, it's packed, and the crowd seems to be growing larger every second. I guess this is more one of the low-key spots. Decent amount still. When I first get my camera out, I usually take a few shots of anything around me to check my settings and ensure everything's going smooth. So that's what I'm doing here. For reference, we arrived an hour and a half before the sun was supposed to set. That may sound very early to most of you, but after talking to some of the professional photographers, some of them arrived over 8 hours earlier. Now that that's done, I switch over to my primary lens that I will be using for the main shot today, and that's going to be the 70-200mm. The plan is to hoist it all the way up, take out the phone, and take the shutter from there. Position gained. So I found a spot, although it's right in the middle of the road, blocking traffic like it's no big deal with everyone else. Cars are already honking, drivers are pissed off, and we keep doing this awkward shuffle every time one manages to inch through. So funny enough, this would have been my favorite shot of the day if the camera was able to focus properly. I had the lens set to only focus on objects 2.5 meters and further, which kind of ruined this shot. Heartbreaking, I know. Here. No, bro. So we kind of had to help out the cars coming through by telling them where our toes were and which way to move. Most of them were thankful for the help, but the others were probably just so tired of getting yelled at by their boss that they just wanted to get home and were rightfully pissed off at us. I kept having to shove myself against the car that I was backed up against, with my feet almost getting run over every time one passed by. Sketchy, I know, but all for the shot. You're good. 1 minute you're lining up the perfect shot, and the next you're diving out of the way as a cab barrels through, and the driver's probably cursing us out in 3 different languages. Eventually, the inevitable happened.
That's what you get, dumbass.
To be clear, I was calling the car in the back who crashed into the guy a dumbass. He immediately sped off, almost running over at least 10 other people on the other side. The damage clearly wasn't enough to be worth it to stop, but it would have been a good gesture at least to the guy in front. At this point, we were getting a bit annoyed at the cars too. Despite the car dodging and the general chaos, the weather's actually looking really good right now. The sky's clear, the sun's slowly dipping, and it seems like we might actually get the shot off. No clouds at all, just a bunch of us standing in the middle of the road hoping it all pays off. So skipping most of the way forward, we start to get to the main event. As you can see, I'm towards the back of the crowd and everyone's starting to bunch up trying to get their shots. However, I kind of planned for this with a tripod. My goal was to hoist up the tripod with a 70-200 on it, and to use my phone with the Canon remote app to take the picture. This actually didn't turn out how I planned. For starters, the camera setup was way too heavy for me to hold up the tripod in one hand and use my phone in the other. I tried to call over my brother who was with me there to help out by snapping with a photo with the phone, but he was too busy trying to capture the moment from his own spot, so we had to go to plan B. I decided instead to record a video, as this would allow me to focus entirely on keeping the camera stable and not require more than one person. Plus, I thought it would look great with the cars moving by to help capture the New York City vibe. Things were looking great until about 5 minutes from sunset. Unfortunately, clouds started to appear. This ruined everyone's shot of the henge. Unfortunately, this was the best shot of the day for me. This is the unfortunate reality of Manhattanhenge. You do all this planning and time waiting at the perfect location, getting pushed around by the crowd, dodging cars and all that, and it all comes crashing down from an errant cloud at the worst possible moment. The henge itself only lasts for about 2 to 3 minutes in the center location, so you can't simply wait for the cloud to pass. All this time was spent for nothing. Even worse, the next day was completely rained out, so there was no real point in going all the way back to the location. Although I did find myself back in New York during the second predicted time in early July, but similarly to the first time around, both days were just plagued by clouds.
So bad. Just like 2 months ago.
That's so funny. Wow, man.
You and me.
That's crazy. I did get a few classic New York City shots that I thought would look great as phone screensavers. Let me know if you guys would like these images, and I'll find a way to upload them to a website so you can download them. For free, of course, I don't do any of this for money. The last one here was my best shot of the Manhattanhenge season. The sun popped out for only a few seconds, so I was able to quickly capture it, although obviously not the greatest. So, here are my final thoughts on Manhattanhenge. Is it worth it to come out as an amateur photographer with no other plans in the city except for this? Absolutely not. The sheer fact that all the time you spent planning your trip, spending your money on gear, renting a hotel, getting to the location, and fighting in the crowds, all for the weather to potentially ruin your day, just makes it difficult for me to recommend. However, if you have a business trip or just want to visit family in the city or have really any other plans during these specific dates, then sure, it might be worth it to bring your camera gear with you. As you may know, I live in the Washington, D.C. area, but during both my trips to New York, I was there for work and to visit family, so it made sense for me to bring my camera gear in addition to all my other stuff. But if you're looking for a reason to visit one of the greatest cities in the world, then this can be a good excuse to do so if you make other plans. Maybe you'll get that postcard perfect photo that everyone's searching for, or maybe you'll just have a funny story about almost getting run over. Either way, you are part of something uniquely New York City. Thanks for watching.